This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, demand for COVID-19 vaccinations has been so high, the Prime Minister has negotiated to purchase supplies from other countries. A resident of the mid-Canterbury town of Tynwald has been busy filling several dozen orders a day for her homemade masks. And a tourism operator says if a proposal to close an airstrip at Milford Sound goes ahead, it will likely end his business. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. Vaccination rates are increasing across the country and there has been concern about the amount of Pfizer vaccinations available. In this afternoon's media briefing, the Prime Minister aimed to reassure New Zealanders there's plenty to go around.
Opening her address to the nation this afternoon, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern had one simple message: please get vaccinated. And with the message, she assured Kiwis there will be enough vaccinations for everyone eligible, despite very high demand.
We've experienced demand at 180% of what we planned for. At our peak in recent weeks, we've been vaccinating more people per capita than countries like the UK, the US, Australia and Canada were at their peaks.
Director General of Health Ashley Bloomfield announced 21 new community cases of COVID-19 over the past 24 hours, all in the Auckland region. And he says only a handful of those weren't already isolating.
Just 4 people were potentially infectious in the community, with 8 exposure events between them. None were in essential worker workplaces, and none of these exposure events occurred after those people were asked to isolate.
Dr Bloomfield expects the number of new cases to continue falling. In terms of vaccine supply, the Prime Minister says New Zealand has reached out to other countries and says she can reveal more about these negotiations at a later date. New Zealand, outside of Auckland, goes into alert level 2 just before midnight tonight, with the decision on all of New Zealand's alert levels set to be made Monday, September the 13th. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A newly released review of Invercargill's City Council says the institution is a much better place than 6 months ago. But it also describes the Mayor, Sir Tim Shadbolt, as being an unavoidable and inconvenient distraction. In his 6-month review report, Richard Thompson says the council is performing much more cohesively than it was half a year earlier. Thompson also says there remain significant difficulties in managing a political process in which the Mayor is seen by his colleagues as not just unable to perform his expected functions. Sir Tim says the review is predictably negative about his performance. He also describes councillors as being disturbingly preoccupied with how the review will affect their re-election in 13 months' time. A resident of Tynwald just south of Ashburton has been busy filling several dozen orders a day for her homemade masks. She says she got into the mask making business during last year's lockdown when she began making them for friends.
Anne-Marie Harvey of Tynwald, just south of Ashburton, started making masks on her sewing machine during last year's COVID-19 lockdown.
They started off as friends, and then of course other people heard that you were making them and needed them, and so yeah, that's how it started. And yeah.
This last month, Harvey's been flat out again, filling about 40 orders a day placed through the Marketplace page on Facebook for her masks, which are a lot more durable than the disposable ones.
It's a double layered, 100% cotton, and I do a pocket on the bottom, so if people want to put a filter in, or even if they just use a little bit of tissue or paper or something like that, just for an extra protection.
While some people are selling masks for $15 or $20, Harvey's retail for just $5, in the hope that more people will be wearing them in her neighbourhood.
I mean, I'm in the age group that if I get COVID, I might just die, so I'd rather have that people actually, be able to afford to buy a mask and wear the masks. And it's a win-win situation, isn't it?
While Harvey's masks come in a variety of patterns and colours, she says the most popular colour ordered is plain black. In Tynwald, The South Today.
New figures show that Otago and Southland employers claimed almost $50 million from the wage subsidy scheme in the first week of last month's lockdown. The wage subsidy scheme was restarted following the latest outbreak of COVID-19 and the subsequent shift to Alert Level 4. Employers can apply for payment if they had more than a 40% drop in revenue over a 2-week period as a result of the lockdown. Data shows more than a quarter of all jobs in Otago were supported by the subsidy in the first week of the lockdown. A tourist operator flying visitors into Milford Sound says it's determined to fight the proposed closure of the airstrip at the popular tourist destination. Milford says banning planes from landing at Milford Sound will seriously jeopardise the company's business.
Flying over Fiordland's spectacular mountains and landing at Milford Sound for an excursion down the fjord by boat could become a thing of the past after the Milford Opportunities Governance Group, headed by retired Director Dr. Keith Turner, suggested a number of dramatic changes last month, including that the airstrip be shut down to make the place one less plagued by the noise of buzzing aeroplanes.
We're approaching this with a goal to try and distribute the number of people going in so that they don't feel like they're tripping over each other. And actually we can get more people in with greater degree of tranquility and sense of place if we manage it properly than we might have been able to before.
Air Milford is one tourist operator that doesn't want to see the 70-year-old airstrip repurposed as shown in this mock-up. The company's boss, Hank Sproul, says with the encouragement of Department of Conservation, his company recently invested $8 million into buying 4 new planes that operate more quietly. Dr. Turner says he recognises his vision for Milford Sound will affect the workings of some tourist businesses.
We're absolutely clear we won't please everybody all of the time. But we do know there's a mandate for change, and we've got to do something that's got a 50 to 100 year time frame. I mean, we can't preserve pristine wilderness if we don't think very long term, and this is the jewel in New Zealand's crown. So we know there'll be many businesses who will be wondering what it means for them, and we've got some complex discussions to have with them in due course.
Air Milford says it's prepared to fight the new tourist initiatives for Milford Sound at a government level to make sure the airport doesn't get closed. In Fiordland, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today. The Southland Recycling Company is set to invest $1.5 million in a new plant. And Daryl Baser catches up with Mayor Aaron Hawkins about how the alert level changes affect Dunedin residents. We'll see you after the break.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
TV, our favourite babysitter, but it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
John's doing his bit to make lockdown better. Lockdown deals, 30 to 50% off while lockdown lasts. Shop online now and save. Pick up later or get delivered with contactless options available at level 3. Lockdown deals. You might be stuck in your bubble, but that doesn't mean you can't shop at My Mate John's. Plus, interest-free payment options available only at mymatejohn.co.nz.
Where'd you get that furniture from? Stafford Street and My Mate John.
Welcome back. Southland Recycling Company is set to invest $1.5 million in a new plant. Southland Disability Enterprises employs people with disabilities in Invercargill to sort the region's recycling. The new equipment will hopefully sort out the region's problem with plastic wrap for hay bales and also generate potentially 20 new jobs. The organisation says its current employees would not be affected by the new developments. It's estimated Southland produces about 5,000 tonnes of agricultural plastic, such as bale wrap, each year. The goal of the new plant and a palletising machine will process all plastic coming from Southland's farms, as well as some parts of Otago. The majority of Aotearoa New Zealand is now at an augmented COVID alert level 2 after the government announced the lowering of levels yesterday. The changes mean more businesses and facilities are open. To discuss how the changes affect Dunedin residents, Dunedin Mayor Aaron Hawkins caught up with Daryl Baser via Zoom this afternoon.
Kia ora, Aaron. So how has the news of the dropping to level 2 been greeted in your bubble?
Kia ora, Daryl. I'm sure we're not the only household that's excited about schools reopening on Thursday morning. That will be a great relief to a great number of people, partly due to the stress and social well-being implications of becoming overnight school teachers of your young children, but also it's been really hard for people trying to hold down multiple jobs from home at the same time. So certainly well received in this bubble.
At level 2, what council services will be available?
So under alert level 2, things are pretty much back to normal, or the new normal for us. So all of our venues and facilities will be open again through normal hours from tomorrow. So libraries, Toitu, the Dunedin Public Art Gallery, Moana Pool, they'll all be open. There are a couple of exceptions in that the Hydra Slide and the Leisure Pool and the Spa Pool will be closed at Moana Pool. And the Rummage store out at Green Island will be closed under level 2 as well. But of course, under the new government guidelines, we're expecting people to be wearing masks or face coverings in indoor environments and to scan in or fill in manual contact tracing forms when they arrive. But otherwise, things are back to the new normal from tomorrow morning.
And yes, as you mentioned, mask wearing. With level 2 Delta, there are a few changes. How will it impact on capacity for places?
Yeah, so public buildings are a little bit different in terms of the limits that have been set for indoor gatherings. So there may be capacity constraints at some of our facilities, but only insofar as there could get, we could get to a point where there are enough people inside our building that you can't maintain 2 meters separation from other people or other bubbles who happen to be there. And that is less of a risk, obviously, in some buildings than others, but we would ask people to be patient and to bear those sorts of things in mind. And of course, all of this information gets updated according to what the latest public health guidance is. And so the best place for people to get information on council services and facilities, up-to-date information, is through the website dunedin.govt.nz, or call our staff on 477 4000.
Indeed, and on that, I imagine there are some very busy people behind the scenes at council.
It's been a very busy 24 hours. It's not quite as stressful as it was coming up and down in the early stages of last year when we were building the plane as we were flying it, but we were anticipating that there would be some changes in the guidance under alert level 2 compared to the last time, and we got that at the same time as everyone else did yesterday afternoon, and staff have been busy trying to figure out not just how we make sure that our public are safe in our venues and facilities, but we have 1,200 staff across the organisation, and we need to make sure that they can go about their work in a way that keeps them safe as well. And that's not a small logistical undertaking. So yeah, it's been a busy day on Zoom calls for people trying to figure out how we can get back into the building and carry on with work in level 2 conditions.
How will so looking ahead to level 2 throughout the city, how will the increased activity in the CBD affect the city's economy?
This is obviously good news, particularly for businesses who couldn't operate easily under level 3 and certainly under level 4 conditions. But it's not the same as it was last time. And so, we're not out of the woods yet, and we know that this is still going to be hard, particularly for hospitality businesses who have new constraints put on them. Equally, groups like churches and faith communities who will have limited numbers in order to keep people safe, and the guidance around people working from home if they can in the city centre obviously has flow-on implications for businesses who rely on the foot traffic of workers to survive. So all of those things are very real concerns, and so this is a positive step, but it's not the panacea for people who have been doing it tough. And so again, I'd ask people who are able to, if you're working or visiting in the city centre, to support your local businesses who are struggling at the moment, particularly have been over the last few weeks, because this is a very challenging environment, and even with the supports that have been made available by government through the wage subsidy and others, they need customers, and I'd encourage anybody who is able to vote with their wallets and support their local businesses.
Mayor Aaron Hawkins, thanks for your time.
Kia ora, Daryl.
After the break on the South Today, the DCC has set aside more than $2 million to deal with a potentially significant toxic waste problem in Dunedin, and we check out the weather.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Campbell's Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
John's doing his bit to make lockdown better. Lockdown deals. Shop online now and save. Pick up later or get delivered with contactless options available at level 3.
And my mate John.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Hey, what have you got? Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent. Love it! Chicks World! Chicks World! Right.
Welcome back. The Dunedin City Council has set aside more than $2 million to eventually deal with a potentially significant toxic waste problem in South Dunedin. The council says it had no immediate plans to deal with up to 1 million litres of tar below ground at former South Dunedin Gasworks. The tar is a byproduct of the gasworks, which operated for more than 100 years, finishing up in the mid-1980s. The tar contains potentially cancer-causing chemicals and other toxic waste. The council says the site remains well managed, monitored and contained. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Demand for COVID-19 vaccinations has been so high, the Prime Minister has negotiated to purchase supplies from other countries. A resident of the mid-Canterbury town of Tinwald has been busy filing several dozen orders a day for her homemade masks. And a tourism operator says if a proposal to close an airstrip at Milford Sound goes ahead, it will probably end his business. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Craig.
Good evening.
Hi.
Yeah, it's all eyes on the big day tomorrow, I guess. Suddenly we get back to level 2 and a bit of normality can resume around the city. We've been out talking to business owners today who are obviously cleaning their businesses and preparing to open the doors tomorrow. Not all overly thrilled with the restrictions, particularly the limit of 50 customers at once. We spoke to some restaurant owners who say they've got capacity for up to 150 to 200 people in their business and can't see why, if they can socially distance the people, they can't have more. Also spoke to some that can only get about 30 odd, so there seems to be no consistency there, so they'd like to see a bit of a change in that respect. Hairdressers, of course, looking forward to opening their doors, but it's going to be a bit different with mask wearing required in there as well. So I think beard trims are out of business at the moment, so that's worth bearing in mind. So you will have a bit of a rundown of what's likely to be open and what the restrictions are going to be in the various businesses as well, so well worth having a look at. We've got a bit more on the sad death of a Dunedin surfer whose body was found at Middle Beach on Monday evening. We talked to some of his friends and neighbours and some of those who knew the surfer as well, told us a bit more about him. Not considered suspicious, the death, so it's been referred to the coroner, so no doubt in due course we'll find out what's happened there. Our fresh pages, plenty of delicious food on offer, including some vegan baking. We've got a vegan citrus slice, but of course, we don't want to be accused of favouring one area, so we've also got a profile on Miranda Ballan, who's a bit of a connoisseur of farm meat and, more importantly, roasts. So she shares a recipe for roast beef and Yorkshire puddings, which, you know, if you're not interested in vegan baking, then that's not a bad option as well. So in sport, plenty happening as well in sport. All the organisations sort of scuttering around now to try and find ways to reignite the competition now that we're in level 2. Looking to resume NPC rugby from round 7. September 17, so that's not great news for Otago, surprisingly, because they were due to play Auckland-based sides that weekend and the following weekend, and those games are unlikely to go ahead. That means Otago may not hit the paddock until October 2, which is a long way away. So the IRFU's in negotiations still with New Zealand Rugby to try and see what they can work around that, but hopefully they can get things sorted. And yeah, plenty of other sports also back underway, so some good news out there at last.
Great, all right, thank you, Craig. And now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, change of weather in Dunedin. Looking at the situation, a very strong westerly airflow will cover the region for the rest of this week and through the weekend, alternating between mild northwesterly and cold southwesterly and bringing frequent periods of showers. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, showers in 11 degrees for Greymouth and Westport. Moving to the northeast, mostly sunny in Nelson with 12 degrees and rain and 12 in Blenheim. To Canterbury, rain for the region with 11 degrees in Kaikoura and Christchurch and 10 in Ashburton. To the southern towns, strong southwesterlies, showers clearing and 9 degrees in the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. Moving to the Central Lakes area, gusty southwesterlies becoming fine for most areas with 10 degrees in Queenstown and Wanaka and 11 in Alexandra. Tiano can expect strong southwesterlies, showers and 9 degrees. To the northern towns, gusty southwesterlies and mostly fine with 13 degrees in Timaru and 11 in Oamaru, Twizel and Omarama. In Dunedin, gusty southwesterlies and some cloud tonight with a low of 7. Very cold tomorrow with sunny periods and a few hail showers and strong to near gale southwesterly winds, a high of 9 and a low of 4. Milder on Thursday with high cloud increasing and fresh to strong northwesterly winds, possibly near gale Thursday night, a high of 17 and a low of 10. And in Invercargill, showers tonight with strong to gale southwesterlies and a low of 5. Wintry showers tomorrow with some hail likely, strong to gale southwesterlies and very cold temperatures. Showers clearing late in the day and winds decreasing, a high of 8 and a low of 5. Northwesterly winds increasing again on Thursday to be near gale by evening, fine at first but cloud increasing and rain developing later, a high of 14 and a low of 10. That's all for our news this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.